We'll get onto that ticking time bomb of a goalkeeper in a second, but let's start off with Enzo Maresca. I've defended that man from the start. He's won us 2 trophies. He's got us back to Europe after 3 long years. I believe in him as a manager to win top trophies. I'm not blind and I'm not illogical. If this man gets it wrong, I will say it how it is. What were those substitutions today? When the red card happens, taking Estabal off makes sense. Of course, it's a bit of a cagey game. We're going down to 10 men. You need as much experience on that pitch as you can. You might have to play a bit of hard-on football, all of that. So yeah, I understand that. And after taking Estabal off, immediately you take Pedro Neto off. As much as I love João Pedro and Cole Palmer, they're not going to be putting fear in the defense by stretching those teams, by running in behind and using their blistering pace, because they don't have blistering pace. But you know who does? Pedro Neto. When you go down to 10 men, a player like Pedro Neto is very useful because he's going to have that spark, that pace, and he's going to have these defenders second guessing themselves, and from time to time he's going to help us get our head above the water. As much as I love Andre Santos, and of course he won us the penalty, that substitution makes absolutely no sense from a tactical point of view. The thing that nearly made me lose my head was when I saw Tyreek George coming onto the pitch. I don't want to disrespect Tyreek George. I think he's one of our academy players, but I can objectively say that I don't think that he's a Chelsea level attacker. I think he's good enough to play in the Premier League, but when it comes in terms of Champions League and these sorts of games, and when you see Tyreek George coming off the bench, it strikes no fear into the opponents. Bear in mind that Tyreek George was literally minutes away from a move to Fulham, and now all of a sudden he's Maresca's saving grace. He's the man that Maresca looks to turn the game at Old Trafford. It just makes no sense. We had 100 million worth of attacking talent sitting on the bench. Even players that I don't rate, like Garnacho, would have made an impact this game. Because even though he's a high volume dribbler and he's actually very garbage at dribbling, he would have at least taken his man on. He would have tried to take their centre-backs on every single time, and he also would have had a chip on his shoulder. He would have been coming back to Old Trafford with something to prove. Same with Gittins. Yes, his form has been a bit patchy, but he's got that electric pace. He's got that blistering pace, and that could have caused some issues for Manchester United, especially towards the end of the game. Now we're on the topic of players that should be playing or should be in and around the squad. Can we talk about a centre-back that comes from the academy that's good enough to play for Chelsea Football Club? Josh Achampong. Every time that guy plays, he's commanding, he's in control, he's confident, he has a massive ceiling, hence why teams like Real Madrid were after him. And when you are playing players like Tosin Adarabioyo and Wesley Fofana in 2025, after his injury record, it just baffles me. Tosin Adarabioyo is just tall and he's Cole Palmer's friend. I swear to God, this guy, I can confidently say that I think Tosin Adarabioyo is up there with the worst centre-backs in the Premier League when it comes to one-on-one defending. Every time that he has to deal with an attacker and he's in a 1v1 situation where he's isolated, I have no hope. I have as much hope in Tosin Adarabioyo stopping a 1v1 as I do with the neighbourhood nitty performing open heart surgery on me, my friend. It's not gonna end well. Now let's talk about goalkeepers. You've been waiting for this. Bob Sanchez, or shall I call him Robert? He doesn't get Bob Sanchez today. I've said this countless times that this man is going to cost us games, and today he did. It only took 5 minutes and he got himself sent off. When it comes to football, you need to understand moments. You need to understand what part of the game that you're in. When it comes to the opening 5 minutes, you need to sort of do a risk assessment in the back of your head. There should be risk assessments always done in the back of your head when you're playing football. But you need to bear in mind, yeah, what's worse, going 1-0 down and letting him, when will probably chip you if you stay where you were, or letting him go around you and maybe Fofana can catch up to him, or maybe that heavy touch would be a bit too much for him. Either way, even if he scores and we go 1-0 down, that's better than having 10 men on the pitch from the 5th minute. Oh, but Tosin didn't win that header and Caicedo didn't follow his man. Please, as a footballer, you need to have some sort of game management and need to know when to take a foul or not. If that was the last minute of the game, yeah, and we were 0-0, that's when you do that foul. If it's the first minute, let him score. It's not that deep. We would rather have you on the pitch. We can still get a result. we can still get a goal. That's Sanchez for you. This man always panics. He always panics. And I know he's had some great performances against PSG in the Club World Cup, against Bayern the other day. Yes, he's a good shot stopper, but people need to stop acting like shot stopping is the only thing that requires you to be a very good keeper. There's also coming out to collect, which Sanchez is notoriously bad at. Remember against Arsenal, that looping header that went 2 miles per hour. He's also very, remember Wolves furthermore, that mistake that he done against Wolves. He's also very poor at coming out to collect across the ground as well. Do you remember what he done with Dominic Solanke when we played against Spurs? He's error prone. And last season he proved it. He had 5 errors that led to a goal, the most out of any goalkeeper in the league. Those weren't just mistakes. Those mistakes nearly cost us Europe for another year. In the wider sense of things, I think people need to look at the fact that we've started this season very badly. We've started this season just as bad as Manchester United. In Manchester United's first 5 games, bear in mind they're 1 point below us in the table. In their first 5 games, Manchester United, yeah, they've had to play against Arsenal, they've had to play against Manchester City, and they've had to play against us. Those 3 games, they've had to play all at the beginning of the season. People were saying title challenges. Compare that with us and our 3 most difficult games at the beginning of the season. We've had, of course, Manchester United today. We've also had Brentford, yeah, away, and we've also had Crystal Palace at home. The only 2 games that we've won this season is West Ham away and Fulham at home. Cole Palmer's out now. I don't know for how long. Liam Delap's out until November. João Pedro's probably going to get a run to the ground. Our defense isn't very reliable. Our attack is slightly fragile. You lot are probably thinking, oh, this guy's acting like Chicken Little. The sky has fallen. The sky has fallen. Brother, the sky has already fallen. Yeah, it's fallen. The cracks are there. They've been there from day one. We have very slow starts. We don't like to get into gear until the opposition score against us. Our centre-backs are very poor. Our wingers are very unreliable. That's it for today, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, smash that notification button, and show some love to your boy.